Hey guys, so it seems we have an issue with our trains. As your city grows and more people start making use of your public transport network and your industry grows and starts exporting and importing a lot more products with trains, it may happen that your original train infrastructure may not be enough to handle the increase in train traffic, which is exactly what's happening with our city. So in this video we are going to focus on addressing the situation. First, we are going to diagnose the problem, see what's exactly causing the trains to get stuck and clogging the entire system, and second, we are going to provide a solution for it and fix the problem and make our trains flow much better, just like when we first built our original train system. Let's jump into it. Okay guys, so we have a pretty modest city so far, with roughly 30,000 people. Everything is going great, but we have a little issue, as our train system is not performing the way it was supposed to perform. We have a lot of trains stuck in the rails, and this is causing our city to underperform, and sometimes even making us lose money, which is something that we do not want. So first and foremost, let's see what's causing this to happen. So as you can see, it seems that the majority of the blockage is coming from this side, this left side. Trains that are coming from the outer part of the city, traveling through this line all the way over here, are getting stuck. So let's just follow the line and see exactly what's happening. So if you go all the way over here, we can see that this intersection is not performing very well. We have a lot of trains stuck in the way. And if we go a bit to the north side, we can see that the problem is happening at around over here at this train station. As you can see, this part of the rail is completely empty, and the blockage is happening at this train station, the High-Tech Center train station. And the reason for this is actually quite simple. We have a lot of activity coming through this train line. So you can see we have a lot of cargo trains, and we also have a mix of regional trains and also local trains. These are all represented in orange, but I wanna tell them apart. So I'm gonna go into our public transit tab and go into our train lines. So as you can see, we have two lines, the industry line and the city line, and I'm gonna turn them into a different color, just so I can distinguish the trains. Okay, so now I can see that all of these orange trains are regional trains, so trains that are coming outside the city, and these blue trains, such as this one for example, are part of our local line. So this one for example is part of our industry line that is transporting people to the two industry specializations that we have. If you go a bit further apart, we can see that the majority of the trains are orange. Sometimes we have a blue train. So the majority of trains that are causing this entire system to block are cargo trains and also regional trains. And the cause for this is actually pretty obvious. So simply put, we have a lot of activity coming through this singular train track and into this train station in particular. This is a dual platform train station, as you can see, with a bypass rail right through the middle. At the moment, this train station has to support two local train lines that are set on each side of the platform. So if I go into our public transit tab, we can see that we have two lines, the city line and also the industry line, going into two of the platforms that we have. This train station is also enabled to receive regional trains. So as you can see, this box is checked, which means that trains that are coming from outside the city can stop at this station and switch to a local train line to travel to the other parts of the city. And on top of that, it even has to deal with cargo trains, as you can see over here. Despite not stopping at this station, cargo trains need to come through here to go from one place to the other by using the bypass rails. So they make use of the same rails as the passenger trains, eventually contributing to the clogging of the system. Before we move on and provide a solution to this, let me tell you what I think caused this problem. So when we started playing on this map, just like any other map with train access, we had a regional train line where intercity passenger trains and cargo trains would flow. As we developed the city and we started building our first industrial sites, we had the need to build some cargo stations in our industries so that we could import and export important products. So we expanded our rail system by building a segment of rail that would connect to the regional rail with an intersection. When we introduced public transit in our system, we built a couple of local train lines. First was the City Line, that would take advantage of the already existing regional rail network and would connect two different districts, the Tadima district and the High-Tech district. Then we would have the Industry Line, that would make use of the segment of rail that we've built for the cargo and would provide access from the High-Tech district to the two different industries that we have, allow people to freely travel from their homes to work. Because the high-tech district is supposed to be a global office space with a lot of unique buildings and also a hotspot for tourists, it would be a good place to allow intercity trains here, represented with the orange circle. This means that tourists could get into the city by train, get out at the high-tech district station and switch to either the City Line or the Industry Line and travel to any other part of the city from here. Unfortunately, with the growth of the city and the increasing demand for public transport and cargo and exports and imports, makes it so that this particular station cannot handle all of this train traffic, as it's currently supporting two different local lines, a regional train line, and also bypassing cargo trains. So we need to provide a solution for this. Okay guys, so the solution for this problem is actually quite simple. We need to disperse train traffic. We basically need to divert some of this train traffic to other rail system so that this train station doesn't have to deal with all of this incoming traffic. And the way we are going to accomplish this is by building a railroad that is parallel to the already existing one. And we are going to divert intercity regional passenger trains and also cargo trains through this line. Instead of having the intercity trains and the local trains converging at the exact same train station, we are going to build a separate train station to the intercity trains. This way, people can still switch between regional and local lines, in other words, the orange and the blue lines. The only difference is that they would have to switch train stations as well. This will not be a problem because both stations are going to be very close to each other and people can easily walk between one another. The old rail system is going to be exclusively for local passenger lines. This is not going to be a problem because intercity trains were not supposed to stop at these stations anyway. However, because we have removed intercity access from the old rail system, we need to find a way to make it so that the regional cargo trains can reach the industrial sites for the import and export of products. So we are eventually going to build an intersection that connects the new railroad to the old rail system that is going to be used exclusively by cargo trains. With this solution, we are going to split train traffic into two different systems, and we're also going to reduce the amount of incoming trains that was causing this entire congestion. And I believe this is going to be enough to fix the problem. But anyway, there's only one way to find out, so let's get to work. I start off by demolishing the whole infrastructure. Despite causing me great pain to demolish the work that I had previously built, this was a necessary evil to improve on this layout. I didn't place the train station that is going to be specific for local trains. That is just the regular train station that comes with the base game. Then I proceed to rebuild part of the infrastructure, such as the bridge and the tunnel. Then I plan out the location for my next train station, and unfortunately I have to delete the park and the small commercial neighborhood that I had on the southern part. I am using the same ground train station with dual platforms and also a bypass track that comes with the train content creator pack. When building the secondary railroad, that is going to be the railroad for our intercity trains, I just managed to squeeze it between the old rail and the road that has all of those technology unique buildings, so this was a very tight fit. Then I just rebuilt all the necessary connections, including the railroad on the other side of the stations. I continue the dual railroad design over here, and I am going to expand both the intercity rail and also the local rail to the upper side of the map that is still yet to develop. After rebuilding all the connections and bridges that I had to demolish, I can then expand the dual railroad design to the opposite side of the map, and I try to make it as parallel as possible to the old rail, and in some cases I even had to demolish the whole thing and rebuild everything all over again from the ground. Then it was time to build the access point that connects the new intercity railroad to the local railroad that will allow for cargo trains to travel from one place to the other and have an easy access between the intercity rail and also the industrial sites that we have on the other side of the map. Going back to the high-tech center station, I have provided road access to the new train station on the opposite side of the other station, so both stations are connecting to opposite avenues. I then connect both train stations with an elevated pedestrian pathway. I then rezone the entire area with commercial and I add a small little plaza to make up for the destruction of the big park with trees that we previously had. It's better than nothing. I then resume the simulation and evaluate whether all of this work has paid off and the issue is solved. I give the final touches by decorating this entire region with trees and make it as pretty as it was before. Enjoy the rest of tree planting and I'll meet you in a second to check out the final result. Alright fellas, look at this. This whole system is working much better than before. No more train congestion at this station. So we can see that this system is much more robust with two different train lines to support the amount of train traffic that we have. So if I get out of the cinematic view, we can see that we have this bypass train station dedicated to regional trains. So intercity trains can stop here and cargo trains go through the middle, just like this one. The new station that we've built is dedicated to the local trains, which are the blue trains as you can see. And people can still switch from the intercity trains to the local trains by simply switching stations. And as you can see, we have this big overpass where people can do so, which is getting quite a lot of activity as you can see. And I've also added this little segment of pathway here, and not a lot of people use it, but I've seen some people traveling from this platform to this platform using this pathway. And there you go, see, there are some people using it, which is very interesting. I still have both the city line and the industry line stopping at this station, so if I go our panel we can see that both of them are stopping at this particular station. I want to check out, however, how this thing is behaving, so if I go into the city line, we can see that we have just one train using this line, which I'm not really sure if that's enough because as you can see we have a lot of people getting into the stations and the trains often comes full. So it seems to be on the limit, but so far it seems to be working. At one point in the future I might increase the budget and add a second train to this particular line. If I take a look at the industry line, we have 3 dedicated trains. We don't have a lot of people waiting at the station. And none of the trains are going full, so we seem to have just enough trains. If I go a little bit further to the north side, we can take a closer look at the intersection. As you might have remembered, we had this particular segment connecting directly to this line here. I have removed this connection and this segment now crosses to the other side of the highway. And here we have our main cargo intersection that connects the newly built line to our old rail system that allows for the cargo trains to switch from the intercity regional line to the local line where they can access both industrial sites. As I've told you, and as you can see, this intersection is used only by cargo trains. You won't see passenger trains over here at this intersection. Overall, this system is working pretty well. We still have the occasional train stopping at one point, either at the cargo intersection or at the high-tech center train stations, but we no longer have that huge line of trains that were completely stuck and unable to move. That issue has been completely fixed. At the moment, here at Tadima town, we have the local line connecting with the regional line at this point here. Right now it's not making much of a difference. This connection is completely useless, but in the future, when we expand to this side of the map and we start developing and we want to give this area train access, we can decide whether we want to expand this local line as an individual line, completely independent from the regional line, or if we want to make it just the way we have it over here and make them connect with each other and have this segment of line be shared by both intercity and local trains. I still have to think about that. On the other side of the map, so let's go to the opposite side, I have basically extended both lines, so we have the intercity line and also the local line that are going parallel to each other, and obviously the local line stops here because there's no point in going further, and then we have the regional line that will give access to the outside of the city, and I will eventually end the local line at around this flatland when we develop to this side and start building some stuff here. And this is where I'm going to put the final station, which will basically define the end of the local train lines. And then we can connect both of these rails together somehow. Overall, I'm pretty satisfied with how this whole thing has turned out. We have managed to completely solve the issue, and we've also managed to improve our train system by adding some rails that are actually aesthetically pleasing and don't look that bad. But anyway guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope it has helped you in understanding a bit more how train traffic works, and hopefully you have gotten some useful tips that you can use on your own cities. Let me know if it was helpful in the comment section down below. Also, if you want to follow the development of this city, make sure to subscribe and watch the other videos on the playlist. Thank you for watching, take care, and as always, have fun!